All right, hi everyone. So, what are we going to, or what am I going to discuss with you, uh, in this particular video is writing academically. Okay, so this is basically, okay, last week, we did on thesis statement, correct? And then we also did the outline. Okay, so today, or not today, sorry. In this video, you are going to get to know when you are writing academically, what are the things that you need to follow. All right, so basically in terms of the format, or like format usually, the structure of writing academically, and then when we talk about the structure, so you need to know each of the paragraph, what are the things that you need to have in each of paragraph. So basically, now let's refer to the outline that you have downloaded last week. So basically today I am going to explain, okay, so what does it mean by this thing, what does it mean by this thing, what does it mean by this thing. Okay, so I will try as much as possible to make things easy for you to understand, of this topic. Okay. So when you're writing academically, okay, when we talk about academic writing or writing academically, it is not only, the usual essay. It can also be report. It can also be journal articles. It can also be articles. So basically, what you are going to learn today, or what I'm going to tell you today in this video, why am I always using today? No, what am I telling you in this video is of the basic format, the basic structure of writing academically. Okay, all right. So you need to have introduction, obviously. You need to have body paragraph, of course, and then you need to also have conclusion. So these three things, okay? And then under these three things, right, under these three structure, or under these three labels, okay, under these three labels, you have the sub label. Okay, now let's continue. Okay, so let's start with the introduction first. I think that is the easiest and that is the most logic parts that we can do. Okay, so in introduction, okay, so remember this is something that I got, this is something that I take, something that I took from the outline. So in introduction, you have the introduction itself, right? Or attention grabber or hook, whichever word that you like. All right, and then background information, and then thesis statement. Okay, so in brief, let me give you an overview first. So basically, introduction or hook or attention grab. This is the sentence, or this is the part where you try to attract, try to make your reader interest to. Okay, you are trying to attract, you are trying to interest your readers to read your writing. Okay, so in your case would be your report, right? So how are you going to start your writing that makes people want to read? And we're talking about to finish reading everything, not to just read the headlines and then they stop, or not just read one or two sentences or first paragraph and then they do some other things. Okay, we're talking about how are you going to make the reader read from the first line until the final line of your writing. So that is the hook or the attention grabber. Background information. Okay, so background information, the function or the reason why you need to have background information, because you need to give context. You need, okay, so basically in a different situation, you need to tell the story why you are writing about what you are writing. You need to tell story. You need to reason out. You need to tell, I write this because of this and this and this. Okay, I give you an example. Okay, now we are doing challenges or problems of Gen Z at workplace, correct? So you need to give reason why you are writing about this. Okay, the reason, okay, let me tell you an example, same concept, different situation. The reason why I want you to write about Gen Z at workplace because, okay, among others, um, me and my friend, me and my friends, we, of course, we gossip about a lot of things and we also discuss about a lot of things. So among others would be in terms of, the situation of Gen Z at workplace and the part where other generations cannot understand why Gen Z is behaving like this and why Gen Z is having this kind of mentality, etc., etc. So, and that makes me, and then that was my call. And then I was like, okay, now let's dig deeper into this. Why? I mean, is it really Gen Z a problematic generation? I mean, okay, I would say 40% yes, but 60% would say no. Okay, so or probably 50-50. So that is my reason. That is my background information. Okay. And a thesis statement. So thesis statement, I believe you have learned last week. But okay, this is just a quick recap. Thesis statement is basically a sentence or statement that summarizes the whole idea of that essay. So the whole idea comes from body paragraph, right? So your body paragraph represents three main ideas or like whatever sorry. The basic is three main ideas, but in your case, you're going to have the cause and effect, and then solution one and two. Okay, so that is the thesis statement. So in your thesis statement, you need to write the cause and effect and then the solution. Okay, cool. Now let's move on. So in interaction, basically, we for this interaction, we are discussing on how can you or what are the things that can you write as your hook or your attention grabber. Okay, so some of the elements that you can use is number one, probably a short story or example or statistic or historical context that introduces the paper topic. Now, if you read on the screen, it says that depending on type of paper, in your case, it's report, and in report means it's serious. So you can't use a short story. You can't use example, but you definitely can use statistic. Okay, and the historical context can be the background information, obviously. Okay, or another way for you, or another elements that you can use in introducing your report is you give an overview of any issues involved with the subject. Okay, any related issues, right? Any related issues with the subject itself. Or the third one, define of any key terminology need to understand the topic. So usually the third element is suitable for argumentative AC, not so much of report, and you are writing a problem solution report. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend you using key terminology definition as your introduction for your report. Okay, I'm not saying it's wrong, it's just that it's not suitable. Okay. Next, you can also use quote or paraphrase sources revealing the controversial nature of the subject. Again, it's argumentative papers only. Oh, you highlight background information on the topic needed to understand the direction of the paper. So this is, giving more context, giving more story, giving more understanding to your reader that, okay, this paper is about this and this and this and this. Okay. Uh, a different ways for you to write your introduction is to write an antithesis paragraph presenting the primary opposing views. So this is also for argumentative paper, which is not in your case because you are writing problem solution. You're going to be explain. I'm going to explain to you on problem solution essay in a different video, right? But for this, you are going to just learn what does it mean by introduction. What do you need to have in introduction? What does it mean by body paragraph? What do you need to have in body paragraph? And what does it mean by conclusion? And what do you need in a conclusion? Okay, right. So stay with me. Stay with me. Okay. Now, this statement it's going to be 1 to 2 sentences, but ideally, this statement is just one sentence. So this is something that I've said earlier on. Thesis statement is a summary, right? Or yeah, it is a summary or overall um, view on your paper, on your report. Okay. Now, so types of introduction, you have funnel. So funnel refers to the idea of, you reveal background info leading to a focus thesis statement. Okay, so basically you talk, you tell a story. You tell a story about the problems, and then you focusing on the thesis statement itself. Okay, so the example is the second bullet. You can read on your own. I don't intend to read for you because I believe that is your own task and responsibility. Okay, dramatic. Well, I wouldn't suggest also for you to use dramatic as your introduction. Again, it's not wrong. It's just not really suitable. Yeah. So, okay, what does it mean by dramatic? Unrolls as an eyewitness account. So basically, the idea of dramatic as introduction, it means that you make things extra, you describe a bit more, and you become lengthy and you become very detailed. So that is dramatic. Okay, and the example is as below. Quotation uses a quote to lead to the thesis statement. Something like to die or not to die, to be or not to be. So that is among others, a very famous quotation from Shakespeare. So, yes, okay, another quotation. Okay, usually, people use sayings or words or statement from public figures, but people, when you use, okay, make sure you use your public figure wisely. Usually, this, because it's academic, right? Usually, the quotes that you choose is from leaders, not from influencers. Don't, all right, from leaders, from a very established figures, so yeah, right, not influencers, okay, unless that influencers has certification, then that's different thing. Okay, then about, okay, now uh imagine turnabout is like you are making a U-turn. So it means like, okay, turnabout is another way for you to somehow confuse your reader, but then again, uh, not confuse that. Okay, sorry, not that's not the right word. Okay, turnabout is all about you are trying to prank your reader. Okay, but then you direct them back to what you are trying to say. So that is U-turn, right? So it looks like you are heading straight, but at a juncture, you make a U-turn because you are going somewhere else, not going straight. So that is turnabout, right? Starts with the opposite idea and then moves to the focus. Well, personally, I kind of like this turnabout kind of introduction because, like I said, it's a pranking thing. It's not scamming. It's a prank. It's a prank to your reader. So it's like, oh, okay, that kind of reaction. Okay, next, um, general statement introduction. Okay, so I believe most of you will be using general statement introduction. Why? Because this is the easiest, the safest, and it will not be wrong. So that is general statement introduction. Okay, so let's take a look at the example. Many public schools have decided that their students should use uniforms. Is it wrong? It's not wrong. It's correct. Is it safe? It's safe because it's good. It's a fact. But is it interesting? No. So that is the downside, right? That is the downside because it's safe and it's correct, but it's not interesting. Things like that. Okay. Now, so this is an example how you divide, or this is to show how do you analyze, or like basically the breakdown. Yeah, that's the word, the breakdown of your introduction. So the first is topic sentence, and then lead to thesis, and then thesis statement. So it same goes like the first slide that you saw just now. interaction, which is also attention grabber and hook. And then you have the background information, and then you have the thesis statement. Okay. Yeah. Another favorite, another favorite of mine in introducing a writing is using question. Why? Because remember, you have to write an introduction that interest people, that attract people. So when you are using question as your introduction, by default, people will feel intrigued, people will feel interested, people will feel attracted. Attracted to what? Attracted to know what is the answer to the question. And okay, you go and try this experiment, social experiment. Whenever you answer question, whenever you ask question, would people answering you? Miss, no. Okay lah, true also. In your context, usually when you ask question, not necessarily you get answer. Okay, fine. We are of different generation, but as far as I'm concerned, for my generation, whenever we are asked with question or questions, we are bound to answer it. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, so this is another breakdown of the introduction paragraph. Okay, so now let's go to body paragraph outline. Okay, body paragraph would be the most challenging part for you to write because it's the heart of your writing, it's the core of your writing, it's where everything should be in your writing. Okay, so the breakdown for your body paragraph would be the first is main point. So you need to have your main point. And then the main point becomes a topic sentence when it is written or when it is turned into a sentence. Okay. And then supporting sentences, your reasoning, or your explanation. And then you need to have your in-text citation, of course. You need to have the evidence and example, of course, and then concluding sentence. Right, guys? Please do not confuse yourself, concluding sentence and conclusion. Conclusion is for the entire writing, but concluding sentence is just for that or for individual paragraph. Right? We good so far? I hope I'm not going too fast, and I hope you can still. I hope I can make you understand. Okay, now before we go further, let's start with the basic of paragraph. Okay, so what does it mean by paragraph? Paragraph means a collection of related sentences dealing with one topic. Okay, so in a different word or in an easy way to make you understand, one paragraph equals to one idea. That's it. You cannot have two ideas in a paragraph. No. And if you read closely, you would realize that, hey, this is just made one idea, but then the rest is just example, explanation, and then, yeah, basically that's. Okay, next. What is a topic sentence? Okay, so topic sentence expresses the main idea of a paragraph, remember? So main idea or main point could be just a word, could be just phrase. Now, because it's a writing, you need to turn the word and phrase into a proper sentence. So a proper sentence that contains main idea or main point, right? That is a topic sentence, right? We go. Now, it's usually the first sentence of a paragraph. When you are writing academically, the format is quite rigid. So you can change here and there, but most of the time people will just follow the standard template. And as a person or as individual who is just about to write, this is the easiest method that I can suggest to you. Okay. Contains the central idea, of course, central idea, main point, same. It's almost the most general sentence in paragraph. Okay. Because topic sentence is just mentioning or it's just stating the main idea, it would be general. You do not have any example. You do not have any explanation in the topic sentence. All right. As simple as that. Okay. Okay, so example of a topic sentence. This is the example. I believe, okay, you can read on your own. Okay, now let's talk about the position of topic sentence. It's going to be quite, okay. Okay, give me a moment. So after sometimes when you talk a lot, you need a break. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Position of topic sentence. Let me try to make things very easy. Okay. Now, hear me out, and I hope you really understand this. Okay. As a person or as an individual that do not always write, we don't write regularly, correct? Writing your caption or writing WhatsApp is not writing. We're talking about writing academically. Okay. So as a newbie, I would suggest and I would recommend you write your topic sentence as the first sentence. Like I said, it's the easiest method, is the easiest way, is the easiest trick for you to to write your report. Okay. However, you need to know that topic sentence is not necessarily as the first sentence in a writing or in an article, because why? Because you, before you can write, you need to read first. Why do you read? Because you need to get some ideas, you need to get some thoughts, you need to get the inputs. So when you read, right, you will be reading a lot of different materials. Okay, so however, even though it's different, even though it's very, every single writing or every single paragraph will have a main idea for each. So due to that, you have to know how to find the main idea. So in order for you to know to find the main idea, you need to find the topic sentence. Okay, so finding topic sentence or identifying the topic sentence, it's not necessary at the first sentence in a paragraph. Okay. So, okay, where can you, okay, where are the positions that topic sentence is located? It could be the first, it could be the first in a paragraph, or the last in a paragraph, or middle in a paragraph, or first and last in a paragraph. Oh, okay, yeah, no kidding. So, first sentence in a paragraph, this is very typical, very common. It's not really difficult for you to identify. Okay, so this is an example. And that is the diagram, or that is the visuals. What does it mean by, remember, topic sentence is the most general sentence. So that is broad, right? Broad, and then it narrows down. So broad narrows down. Okay. Next, topic center as last. So basically, this is where you start your paragraph with explanation, or probably you start with an example, explanation, and then you go to the topic sentence. So that is the example. And the diagram, or like, yeah, the graphic for this is start with a narrow idea, and then it becomes very general. So hence the reason why the pyramid is pyramid. Okay, compared to the previous one, it was a reverse pyramid, correct? Okay, topic sentence in the middle. So I would say topic sentence in the middle is quite tricky, because you have to start with explanation. And then the explanation has to lead to the topic sentence. And then probably after that, you give another explanation, or you give an example, and then you come to concluding sentence. Okay. So yeah, this is an example, right? And then that is how the diagram. So it becomes, it starts with focus, a very focused, and then very general, and then focus again. Okay, topic center first and last. Okay, now let me tell you why there are author, or why there are topic sentences as the first and last. Okay, now there will be situation, or there will be condition where, your idea or your argument is something complicated, very complicated. So because of the complication of the idea, okay, and understand this. No matter how complex or how simple your idea is, you need to make sure your reader understands it. Okay, so if your reader fail to understand what you are writing, then they might just twist the idea, or they might just scoop it differently, or they understand it wrongly, and you don't want that. Okay, you don't want that. So hence the reason why you have first and last as your topic center, because it means that you are trying to emphasize and you're trying to make things clear to your reader. Okay, and this is the example. All right, there is a continuation, of course. The three dots means it's continuation. I like that. All right, cool. So the graphic is like that. So you start with broad, and then broad detail, and then detail back, and then broad. Okay. Now, what is a supporting sentence? Okay. In the outline, I see supporting sentence or supporting details. These are all the same thing. And then justify also refer to the same thing. So supporting sentence develops, explains, supports the main idea of paragraph. So usually supporting sentence is facts, examples, and details. However, in your outline, I separated the reasoning, or like the supporting details and the example purposely. But actually, supporting sentence example is part of supporting sentence. Okay. Um, no, the function of supporting sentence is to explain why the main idea is true. Okay, why main idea is true. Okay, next. So this is example. Example. So if you take a look first, so that is the first idea, second idea, first reason, second reason, third reason. Okay, what is a concluding sentence? Concluding sentence, right? Usually the last sentence of the paragraph restates the main idea, used to finish or to finish the paragraph or to prepare the reader for the following paragraph. So academic writing or writing academically is all about flow, is all about following the format, following the structure. Okay. And then the idea why you need to have a concluding sentence is basically you want to tell your reader that, hey, I am finishing this idea, I am finishing this paragraph. So after this, there will be I will talk about, or I will introduce a different idea. So it's just a sign, it just, telling your reader that, okay, I have enough, I have finished explaining this. Now we move on to a different idea. Okay. So this is example of concluding sentences. Guys, concluding sentence and mm, the concluding sentence and conclusion are not the same. The function is the same. They are concluding, they are wrapping, but the position or the location of them are not the same. Okay, analyze. Which of the following examples cannot be used as a topic sentence? Why? Okay, so this is a practice, right? This is a practice. Let's take a look for a while. Sorry. Eh? Okay, which one cannot be used as a topic sentence? Number one, the first statement, hometown is correct. Two, um, two is the second one is the second one cannot, because they have two different ideas, right? Two different ideas. So that is not a topic sentence. That can be a thesis statement, but not a topic sentence. Clouds are white. that is definitely not a topic sentence because it's a text. Okay. Now check the structure of this paragraph. You need to identify topic sentence, supporting sentence, and concluding sentence. Okay. Oh my God, I am so sorry. Okay. Now, if you notice, the different color means different function. So you will start with this is statement, supporting sentence, and concluding sentence. Okay. When writing a paragraph, you have to remember, number one, to check the content, to check the structure, and to check the form. Okay. What does it mean by content? Content means you develop only one idea. The entire essay or the entire report will talk about problems of Gen Z at the workplace. You cannot turn or you cannot swerve into other idea. Okay. And then you have to be coherent. You have to make your paragraph easy to understand. You have to focus on the main idea. You have to elaborate, explain, and develop your topic sentence, of course. You cannot just leave it hanging like that. You need to find reasons why you say what you say. And then explanations, details, and examples to the supporting sentences. So when you have details and examples and supporting sentences, then it will make your writing more matured, more reliable, more trustable. Structure. Okay. Make sure your paragraph has one topic sentence, as many supporting sentences as you need, a concluding sentence. Form. Make sure your paragraph has a 5-space indentation. Okay, so this is the basic. All right, it's not for you. You have how many do you should have? You have the intro, you have the conclusion, you have the cause effect, and then solution 2. So altogether for your report, you need to have 8 space indentation. Why? Because that indentation refers to paragraph. Okay, there are no lines or blank spaces in between sentences. Obviously, you have to check and you have to check your grammar, and of course you have to check also your spelling. Okay. Right, by default, you are using the gadget, you are using the technology. So spelling, misspell word shouldn't be there. Shouldn't be there. Okay. Body paragraphs moving from general to specific. So your paper should be organized in a manner that moves from general to specific information. So remember, the what do I say? What did I say about the topic sentence? So you are recommended to start your each of the paragraph with a topic sentence before anything else. Okay, right? Before anything else. So every time you begin in the subject, think of an inverted pyramid. So it has to start with the broadest, and then it goes to the narrow road. Okay. Okay. Excuse me. Oh my God. Okay. And then concluding sentence is basically wrapping up every single thing that you have written in your paragraph just now. Okay. So this is the graphics. This is how it should be. Okay, the 4 elements of a good paragraph: transition, topic sentence, evidence, and brief wrap up. So if you happen to have all of these 4 elements in your paragraph, in each of your paragraph, and in that essay for that matter, you are talented, you are good with your writing. However, to reach this is not easy, obviously. Okay. Transition means leading in from a previous paragraph to assure smooth reading. This acts as a handoff from one idea to the next idea. Transition means how do you end the current paragraph and you shift to a new paragraph, or how do you make the previous paragraph and the current paragraph relevant to one another, connected to one another. So that is transition. Topic sentence, again, this is another time of we have to talk about topic sentence. So topic sentence, even though it's the general sentence, it does tell you what's what of the paragraph. Okay. So evidence and analysis are useful or are needed because you want to make your argument or you want to make your explanation better and you want to make your explanation stronger. Okay. So brief wrap up. Okay. Brief wrap up is necessary because it gives you, it reminds you on the things that we plan to talk or we ought to talk. So that is a brief wrap up. Okay. So briefly, clearly present the main points of the paper as stated in the thesis. So remember, whatever you have written in your thesis, it has to be tally with your body paragraph. But if let's say it's not tally, then either one should change the idea, the main idea. Give strong examples, details, and explanations to support each main point. So you cannot just have the main idea without any explanation, right? That equals to 0 for my class. So if let's say if you are writing an argumentative paper, so address any counter arguments and refute those arguments. If a research paper, use strong evidence from sources, paraphrases, summaries, and quotations that support the main points. Okay? So basically, when you're doing your research, when you're doing your internet Googling, make sure you use a very strong evidence from sources. Okay, conclusion, right? So what do we need to have in conclusion? So there are two things, restate thesis, recommendation. Okay, there will be only 2 points that you have to write your thesis statement. The first is the final sentence of your introduction. The second is the first sentence of your conclusion. All right, are we confused enough? And then we go with recommendation. Okay, so recommendation is more of like suggestions, it's more like advice that you can give or you could give to the readers of your writing. What do they need to do next? Okay, now restate your thesis from the introduction in different words. Okay, now in my class, it's not necessarily you have to paraphrase your thesis statement. You can just copy word for word from the thesis statement that you wrote in your first paragraph to the conclusion, to the early part of the conclusion. I don't have any problem with that. But if you want to go with paraphrasing, make sure you paraphrase like this. You did the M students paraphrase, not kindergarten paraphrase. Okay. Give a statement of the consequences of not embarrassing the position, but that is for argument paper only, and with a strong clincher statement and appropriate meaningful final sentence that ties. Okay, and then whole point of the paper together may refer back to attention grabber. Right, additional tip, decide on the thesis and main points first. I think this has been sorted out last week. You do not need to start writing your paper with the introduction. Okay, so this is something that I learned from my colleague. We are going to start writing our report from the body paragraph, not the intro or the conclusion. Okay, try writing the thesis and body first, then go back and figure out how to introduce the body. So this one, people. This one is what we are going to do for our class. Comes week 13. Okay? And of course, you need to conclude your paper. The thing is like this. When you did not finish your work, for example, a book or article, and then when other people find out, they would have different idea. Funny idea. Okay? So yeah, and then out of the sudden, you know that you are viral. Okay. Use transitions between main points and between examples within the main points. So remember the transitional markers that we discussed 2 weeks ago. So this is when you need to use a lot of transitions to smoothen the idea flow between the Kampung Baru, the idea flow. Sorry, what Kampung Baru? Okay, the idea flow from one sentence to another sentence, or one paragraph to another paragraph. Why did I say Kampung Baru? I do not know. Oh my God. Funny. Okay. Always keep your thesis in the forefront of your mind while writing everything in your paper. Mine's point back to this. Remember, the thesis is very important. Whatever that you write in your thesis has to be tallied with the body paragraph and vice versa. Okay, you cannot do, you write something else in, you write this, and you write ABC in your thesis, and then out of sudden body paragraph, you are explaining on DEF. No, cannot. Don't. Okay, don't. So I guess that's all for this writing academically. I hope you can get some understanding. Minus the Kampung Baru part, I didn't know why I said that. However, so that's all for this video. All right. See you again in a different video.